Hey guys, it's Amanda with Seven Sparrows Farm. Recently, a company called Showave reached out to us to talk about their gardening boots. So they sent us a free pair. I did not buy these, but this is not sponsored by them. They have not paid us anything. All they did was send us some boots to check out, so open them up with us. All right, let's open these up, see what we think. I will say they are very nicely packaged. They came very secure, so I like that. They initially wanted to send me some short gardening boots. I opted for the tall ones. We are in North Georgia. We do have tall grass and snakes. I know that these aren't technically snake proof, but it just makes me feel more protected, I guess. So if I want the shorter style, if I'm out in shorts, there we go. We go through a lot of boots. There's 7 of us, and they all tend to have the same kind of issues. So we're gonna talk through those and see how these measure up. So we've been through cheap boots. We've been through expensive boots. The one thing is that they're essentially shoes. So let's talk about how they measure up as shoes. So I always check my shoes like this and make sure that they only bend where the ball of the foot bends. That's gonna give good support, and these do that. I also check the back and make sure that this isn't gonna fold in, and they don't there. So that looks really good. When I feel the inside, they feel like they have some manner of arch support. So if I'm out in the garden, you know, hoofing it around in these things for a couple of hours, I don't feel like these are gonna hurt my feet. So we're gonna test it, but that's a good start. Also, when our boots break down, at least here for us, it's usually in one of 2 areas or both. Where they bend, right about here, they usually crack, and my kids hate it because that lets the water in, just from the constant bending. You can see here, there's actually a double layer in this portion of the body of the shoe. So I feel like that's gonna hold up well. This is also like a really flexible rubber, so it's not like hard plasticky. So I feel like that's gonna do well. Also, when you use your other foot to pull off the boot, this will oftentimes crack, but again, we've got this extra layer here, so I have high hopes. We shall see. A couple other things that I noticed just out of the box is that these have a really substantial tread on them. I really like that. We don't get a lot of ice and snow here, but these feel like they would grip if I had like a muddy patch or something like that. So I like that. One potentially negative, I am used to boots that are rubber all the way up. We do walk into our creek to get water for chickens and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna have to remember that the rubber stops at the ankle. I don't think these are gonna be waterproof all the way up. So again, we're gonna test and see. All right, for reference sake, I normally wear about an 8.5 in women's. They do have a sizing chart when you order these that is very accurate, and I literally measured my feet. So these ended up being a 9, that's what I went with. So let's try these things on. Okay, I was worried that they would be too narrow, but they're really not. I don't have extremely wide feet, but they ain't the narrowest either. I do feel the arch support, that's good. And my toe is hitting right here. I did order them a slightly oversized because I wanted to be able to put some thick winter socks on. And I feel like I could do that. I'm gonna try on this one that's folded low too. Yeah, they've definitely got enough room up here where I could tuck my overalls in, or I could just fold them down. So just as a frame of reference, these are the Walmart specials that I've been using. And you can see here, they are cracking where they bend, and we've got some wear and tear. So I'm hoping that these new Showave boots will hold up a little bit better. So just for a side-by-side, the height is pretty comparable, but with these Showave ones, I can go ahead and roll them down if I get hot or if I'm, you know, just running out in shorts or whatever. So it's been about 3 weeks since I got the new boots, and I've been using them pretty much daily in the garden. It's the end of garden season, so there's been a lot of cleanup, there's been a lot of hard work, there's been a lot of days in the heat. So here's our honest review. All right, I wasn't sure if this would be the case with these boots because they are a bit more fitted than the ones I'm used to, but I am actually able to step into them without them folding up. So that was a nice, happy surprise. So when I first got these and I saw the nice grippy bottoms, I was excited about it, but also worried that I would end up caking on half the garden soil to my boots and carrying that around. That has not been the case, and we've had a lot of rain. So as muddy as it's been, I've not felt like they clumped up on the bottom of the boots, but I also haven't slipped and slided, so I like that. So the biggest thing I've noticed when wearing these over the last several weeks in the garden is I wouldn't have been able to say this before, but having something to compare to, I guess when I wore my old Walmart style boots, I felt like I was walking around with buckets on my feet. They were rigid. The rubber was just harder, and that was really trying after several hours out in the garden. These do not feel that way, and I don't know if it's because the sole is more flexible, if it's because they have arch support, it's because the upper is more flexible, but they're just way more comfortable for a long period of time. One more thing I want to tell you guys about these boots is I was real careful when I chose the size that I got. I used their sizing chart and I intentionally went up a size. I was still thinking about the buckets on my feet situation, and I wanted to make sure that I could use them in the winter with some heavy socks. So that's just something to keep in mind. Mine are like a half size bigger than I would normally buy. All right, so what's the final verdict? First, you need to know they did send me these boots for free, so full disclosure there. Second thing though is, would I buy them for the roughly $50 price point? Before I had them, probably not. But now that I've had them on my feet for 3 weeks, yes, I am not going back to Walmart boots. These are way too comfortable. So if you want to check them out, check out the link below. Crowing in the background.